The entire concept of evolution stemmed from that original belief in millions of years, because it was Charles Lyell who influenced Darwin. What Charles Lyell did is get the world to accept that the earth could be very old. So Charles Darwin just walked into the door and said, well, given enough time, molecules can evolve into microbes, which can evolve into man. Right? There's no real evidence for it, and a lot of this time things are just literally plucked out of thin air, thinking about that trip to the Ordovician and the snails. So we've got to understand, where did this idea of millions of years come from in the first place? But what you'll find is that Charles Lyell didn't invent it. He borrowed it from James Hutton. He didn't invent it. He took it from the French revolutionaries, who were trying to get rid of the monarchy, and they needed a way to get rid of God. They did that by borrowing the idea of millions of years and really pre-uniformitarianism thinking from the Greeks. And the Greeks borrowed it from the Hindus and the Babylonians. And you can trace it all the way back to an initial rejection of God, or initial rejection of truth. And every time throughout history it crops up because people are trying to get rid of a concept of God. They're trying to get rid of a concept of the supernatural. And the argument is, given enough time, anything can happen. Things can just evolve. And so really they play off of each other, right? If the earth is very old and it's old enough, then things can happen by themselves and things can evolve. And in fact, if we make the evolution needing the millions of years, then you're a win-win, right? You have no need for a God anymore. So you've got to understand the anti-God, the anti-biblical philosophy, which underpins the whole of the millions of years. It underpins the whole of the idea of evolution. And it's this idea of trying to get rid of God first and foremost.